Hello, everyone, and welcome to class. This semester, we are going to be fully asynchronous and online. And so I thought I would put together this video in order to formally welcome you to the class, get you oriented with how things will run, and provide some general breakdown about not just the class, but about myself as your instructor. I know in online classes sometimes there is a pretense or misconception that you're not allowed to engage with me. That's not true. You are welcome to engage with me, and I want to make that very clear in this introduction video. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself for a second, and then I'll jump into what the class will be about. I'll go over the syllabus with you all in the video, and I'll also talk about some other details pertaining to the class that you'll need to know about. So without further ado, I will go ahead and just run through a little bit about me. So there's a picture of me right there, so you know what I look like if you see me around campus or around Knoxville. You don't have to be afraid. You can say hello. I won't bite or snarl or do any type of rude remark at you. I was born in Charleston, South Carolina, and raised between there and Baltimore, Maryland. A lot of my time as a youngin was spent basically exploring video games. That was really what I enjoyed doing, what my passion was. What interesting fact about me is in terms of college, I actually did not want to go to college. So I don't know how many of you are in this class who probably experienced the same thing, but my original plan was to go into the military after finishing high school. But I got sick and I was unable to do so. So the other alternative was college, of course. And I'm glad I did go. I enjoyed my time at Towson University, which is where I got my undergrad. Although I do omit that I started at community college and transferred to Towson. So if you started at community college as well and transferred to a four-year university, I can relate to you pretty well. I finished up at Towson with a bachelor's of science in geography and environmental science. I was a dual major as well, so I also had a major in history and then a lot of minors. So I went from somebody who didn't want to be in college at all and basically became a huge nerd. Um, and I guess I already was a nerd because I played a lot of video games, but things kind of transitioned from not being, I guess, a book nerd to becoming more of a book nerd. I don't know. It was a weird spiral. I ended up going to Louisiana State University for a master's where I focused climatology, and I did a lot of applied climatology studies. If you don't know what that is, that's essentially taking data that is detected via sensors in the environment and then using that data in order to deduce some type of pattern in long-term meteorological phenomena. And I studied lightning frequency in Louisiana for my thesis, looking at how different surface types and therefore latent and sensible heat would influence the amount of lightning that occurred over a particular area within the state of Louisiana. And then for my PhD, I went to the University of South Carolina. There, I studied microclimatology, but I also studied macroclimatology. I looked at drought and pluvial. Pluvial means like extreme precipitation regimes or anomalously high precipitation regimes. And that was what I studied at the University of South Carolina. I finished my PhD in 2020. It was a perfect time because it was the height of the pandemic. So I basically watched all of my job offers fizzle up into thin air, and the only two I had left were in California. So I moved out to California for about a year and a half and lived out there and worked out there, and then came back after my wife got a job here at the University of Tennessee as well. So I've worked in data science, web development, energy, agriculture, higher ed, really a lot of different fields. And I've done that because I have a broad interest in a variety of topics and a variety of subjects. I'm just a really curious person. I love investigating different things, and that's taken me to different fields. For a moment, I even worked in blockchain, which was like totally left field from what I studied in school. A little bit more about me. Hobbies, as I've already said, pretty big nerd. So just about everything. You see, I have Warhammer and Demon Slayer over here. I love anime. I love science fiction, Lord of the Rings, all that stuff. If you put some of those puns or references in your classwork, I'd love it. It will make my day. I also do a lot of 3D printing, a lot of writing. If you want to keep up with my writing, I do write on a personal blog, but I also write on medium.com. You can find me there under Nick Sokol, and you can see all of my publications there. I am a flock father. After my wife and I moved to Tennessee, we acquired some chickens, and we originally started with 6 chickens, and they hatched a bunch of eggs. That's mom right there with some of the chicks that she's hatched. And now we're up to 14. So if you're thinking about getting into raising chickens, just know that they multiply quickly. And yeah, it can get out of hand, but it's a lot of fun. Community engagement. I do a lot of work with a lot of different groups and nonprofits in Knoxville. I work with United Way. I work with Rooted East, Battlefield Farms, Knoxville Garden Alliance. Really focused on developing like sustainable and clean food and using different scientific techniques and innovations in order to do that. And so, one more thing that I thought I should talk about before the class starts this semester in particular, I have my first child on the way in the next 3 months. So, um, in addition to everything else I'm doing, the business I run called Algeo, I run that business, but it's also in partnership with Oak Ridge National Lab. So I do a lot of work with Oak Ridge. I do a lot of work on the business. I'm teaching, et cetera, et cetera. You can kind of see where I'm going with all this, which means my time is like very, very, very limited. So, um, you know, keep in mind, I put here that I'm what's called a professor of practice, not a research professor. For those of you who are not aware of the difference, a research professor is basically somebody who lives and breathes being in academia. They primarily focus on publishing papers, teaching a few classes, and pulling in grants for their respective department. And that's their main focus. As a professor of practice, I am more so of a applied professor. So I work in industry. That is my main focus. And then I bring the experience that I gather from working in industry back into the classroom to pass on to my students. And so the official title, I guess, for a research professor would be assistant professor or associate professor or just professor. And then for me, I'm what would be called a teaching assistant professor or professor of practice. So, all that to say, I know that's a lot of new information probably thrown at you, and it's a little bit irrelevant as well. But you'll find that I do like to go on tangents. Um, if you email me, if you're trying to reach out to me or get in touch with me, and I'm not very quick with getting back to you, follow up again. Um, the standard policy is 24 to 48 hours for a response. I would say definitely stick to that. If it's an emergency, mark your email as an emergency, and I'll see the little red exclamation mark in Outlook. And if I still don't get back to you after 48 hours, please, please, please follow up again. Don't wait a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks and then say, Dr. Sokol or Nick, you can call me either or. Don't wait and then say after 3 weeks, you never replied to my email. This was critical information that I needed in order to progress. Be proactive. If you don't hear from me in 48 hours, even after you marked it as an emergency, follow up again. That helps me make sure that I am servicing you properly in this class. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about this class and what you'll be doing this semester. Alrighty, let's go ahead and go over the class. What I want to do first is just introduce you all to the Canvas page. We'll be utilizing the Canvas page for a lot of different things in this course. Primarily, this is where you will access all of the materials and resources for the course. as well as submit any assignments that I give to you and activities. You'll do that all through the Canvas page. So you won't give anything to me directly. You'll do that through Canvas. So the first thing I want to talk about is just the general layout here for the Canvas page. I like to organize things by modules. So you can see here I have my welcome to the class module. I'll have the information pertaining to the class itself within the welcome to the class module. So the syllabus, resources that you can utilize for extra learning or extra materials to help you through the course, how to succeed in this course guide, becoming a pro with AI. So basically, how to utilize AI better in tandem with the goals of this course. And then this video that you're watching can be found in the About This Course / Introduction video tab here. You'll see that we have week 1. I do have an assignment here for you all to do for week 1. So you'll do that assignment and you'll upload it here in Canvas. I would also say make sure that you bring a copy of your product or work with you to class, just so that way when we go over it and we discuss it, you have it there with you to reference. And that's the only recommendation I have about that. Pretty straightforward here. Again, this class covers a large breadth of material pertaining to GIS. So every week you should be checking the modules for new materials that have been populated. And I will try to populate ahead of time. So that way, if you want to get ahead in the class, you most certainly can. For the time being, I'm going to go over the syllabus very quickly, just so you're familiar with what this course is going to be about. So this course is called Geovisualization and Geographic Information for Researchers and Professionals. It assumes that you do not have a lot of experience with GIS. So you can almost think of this as a introductory course for GIS, except we're going to be taking a much more applied approach to this class relative to an introductory course. We're going to be looking at specific use cases, different applications, different methods that pertain directly to you. So, although I don't know a whole lot about you yet, I will learn more about your interests and what you intend to do with geographic information systems, and that will help me cater the content of this course for you specifically. So, some basic information. I am the instructor. You can call me Nick, uh, Dr. Sokol, Professor, whatever you prefer. My email is nsokol@utk.edu. Please email me there if you have any questions regarding the content of this course. The classroom location time, we will be in BGB 406 on Tuesday, Thursday from 9:45 to 11 a.m. I do think that some days we will be in BGB 405, especially if I have you all doing work in class. But most days we'll meet in BGB 406. Office hours, I will be in my office, which is BGB 414, on Tuesdays from 12 to 1 or by an appointment. So 12 to 1 doesn't work for you, you got to run someplace else. Just send me an email and we can find another time outside of that hour for us to meet and discuss the content of this course. So, once again, this course provides foundational knowledge in geospatial technology. Again, this is for a specific research or career path. So, I need to learn more about you all in order to develop the content of this course so that way you find it most useful. We will be talking during our discussions about different use cases and applications relative to your field. But another thing that we'll be doing is going over skills and techniques that can be utilized within your field to improve or expand the body of research within your focus area. Or if you are intending to pursue a career, then we will also look at ways for you to propel that aspect of your life. So the course objective, by the end of the semester, you all should understand the fundamental principles of geospatial technology and GIS, know how to apply geospatial tools and techniques in research projects, conduct geovisualization analyses, and interpret and communicate spatial data and results effectively, develop proficiency in using software such as ArcGIS and Python for geospatial analysis. So the course structure, generally we're going to be doing lectures, discussions, and hands-on workshops, which are activities or labs. And this class only lasts for 1 semester. The grading breakdown, discussion, final project, and then assignments and labs. There's no tests in this class. It's a very applied class. So I really want to see you all talking about GIS and related geovisualization techniques, spatial analysis methodologies. That's something that I'm really going to focus in on those discussion days when we're talking about this material. I want to see that you're learning about the methodologies and the geospatial thinking, dogma, and approach to solving problems. The final project will be focused on what is essentially a mock peer review study that you would complete. So I would say gear up to write it as if you're going to submit it to a journal. And you can do this however you would do it in your own field. It doesn't have to be catered specifically to how a geographer or a GIS expert would write a paper and submit it. It can be done how you do it in your field. And the last thing are the assignments and labs. Again, this is an applied class, so you will be tasked with doing assignments and labs. When you turn those in, you'll be graded on not so much the correctness. I'm not looking for correctness. I'm just looking for effort. And so if I see you have a lot of effort put into the assignments or labs, and it looks like you really tried, then you'll get a good grade. And what that means is, let's say I'm giving you a problem to solve with Python. I want you to make a chloropleth map using Python. And you tried everything you can think of. You've never seen Python or even heard of it before. You have no idea how it works. What I want you to do is go in and play around with it. And if you're unable to figure it out, just write out what you did, why it didn't work, and what you would try to do to get it to work. And to me, that shows me your thinking process and how you went about trying to solve that problem, even though you weren't successful in doing that. And so your final grade in this course is based out of 1,000 points. So you would just take the total number of points you earned from all of these assignments and divide that by 1,000 points. And that would give you your final grade. I use a standard grading interval scale. So 90 to 92.9 is an A minus, and so on is an A. And then same thing for the B's, the C's, the D's, and the F's. Everything is broken out as you would typically see it for any other class. Course materials for this class. I do expect you to have access to a computer, a working computer that's functional. If you don't, there are labs that you can access in the Birchfield building when they are operable. And you can use those resources in order to access Python, ArcGIS software, and then any reading materials you need will be provided by me. Some important notes. Participation is strongly encouraged. Again, I'm looking for discussion. If you're not here for discussion days, that will be a instant point deduction, because if you're not here, you can't participate and I can't give you a grade for it. So if something does happen and you need to be absent from class, let me know ahead of time and we will make that happen. Late submissions, if you're late with the assignment, you'll also incur a grade penalty, so keep that in mind. Everything will be provided on Canvas, so keep an eye on Canvas, including announcements. If your announcements are not tied to Canvas, if your emails are not tied to Canvas, you need to set that up. I will post announcements through Canvas because it broadcasts that out to all the students in the class, and you should get those in your email. So make sure you're staying on top of that. I would say check Canvas if you don't get those announcements to your email at least once a day. Software, I'll provide access and instructions for how to download any software that you need for the course. There's no textbook. Again, all literature will be provided by me. Please give me at least 24 to 48 hours to reply to any emails that you send. So that's pretty crucial. I'm very busy, got a lot of other projects and work that I'm doing, and I'm pretty sure you're pretty busy too. 24 to 48 hour response time is pretty reasonable. If for some reason I miss you and I don't reply to you within that 24 to 48 hour time frame, just follow up. Don't be afraid to follow up and say, hey, Nick, haven't heard from you. I really need this answered. Let me know what we can do. and I'll get back to you. Stuff happens, my email gets flooded and things get buried. So if I don't reply to you, please follow up again to have your question answered. But make sure it's after that 24 to 48 hours. And then everything else here is pretty straightforward. The last thing that we're going to cover is the course schedule, and this is a tentative course schedule, and it can change at my discretion. So this is really just here to give you an idea of what we'll be covering in the class, not only just with topics, but also activities. And the reason why I say that is, again, this class is really catered towards you all and helping you all learn and figure out what skills and tools you need for this class in particular. And so, what I'm really trying to do is understand what your backgrounds are, what you're looking to pull from the class, and how I can help you get the skills you need to be successful either with your research or in your career endeavors. So, as I get to know you all more and what you're interested in, these topics will change and they'll be catered more towards you all, and the assignments will also probably change to be catered more towards you all as well. So again, this is very tentative and as such is not complete because a lot of this will likely change. And with that being said, that's about it for the course. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email, and keep an eye on Canvas for any activities or discussions or any other readings or resources that I may post up there. And I will catch you all later.